There we go.
Good morning. It's Thursday, May 21st. I am calling to order the May meeting of the Teton County Library. Board members present include Peg Gilday, Vicki Rosenberg, and myself, Mary Lee White. Absent is Elizabeth Thorbach and Anna Vasilino. We have Rick Smith is here from facilities. Diane. And then we have visitors, Lynn McDowell and Ellen Wilson from Daughters of the American Revolution. And Kip is with us virtually, and Stella's here, of course. We will, I would like to, we have a quorum. And I would like a motion to adopt the agenda, although I would like to move the agenda item to consider the placement of a plaque at the Teton the Daughters of the American Revolution plaque. We'd like to go ahead and discuss that first, so these women can leave and not sit through the rest of our extremely entertaining meeting, but I have things to do. I move to approve March 20, very long March 26th.
Oh, it should say May 2026.
It says March. I'll second the May 26th reading.
All in favor of adopting the agenda, say aye. Aye. Do we have to note the change? Moving, Kip, I don't think we need to note that.
No.
And so we'll move on to approval of the minutes.
I'll move to approve the minutes of March 19th, 2026, and the meeting, regular meeting, and the April 16, 2026 document.
Second. Thank you. We have a first and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. We have no correspondence. It appears no one else is on the meeting. We don't seem to have public comment. And before we go to financial information reports, I'd like to allow Lynn to go ahead and tell us what the Daughters of the American Revolution would like from us.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And Lisa Ridgway actually made all the arrangements and trip. So I'm representing her. Helen and I are both officers for the chapter. We've been here for 47 years. And just briefly, we do education, historic preservation, and patriotism. And this plaque, we've been trying to find someplace in Jackson to put it since last June. And we've gone through all the different manners. So Lisa contacted and you guys said they listen to us. And we really appreciate that. We do boast about our relationship with the library with the other 9 chapters of the state. So just wanted to let you know that we promote you all the time. But what we would like to do is, this is the last year that we've been going on since last year with one standardized plaque made by one person in DC, and we have to have permission for a piece of ground to put it on, and the size varies on the second page that we gave you. The largest one is the one you see in the picture with the governor. We presented that last year on the corner of the Capitol building. And the other one you can see is on a rock, Davis family rock from the ranch. And that's the same plaque. So it's a beautiful plaque designed by one person. It's all to celebrate the American patriots from the Revolution, and we have none buried in Wyoming. This would be the only recognition anywhere, and we would be the 3rd one. They're going to put a 4th one in Green River in August that we all chipped in and paid for. So you can see it's quite expensive. We have volunteers from our chapter. We've already raised $1,400. They would like to go for the fanciest one, but we can't even get an up-to-date price until we have this little piece of property to put it on. We believe the library is the most significant, other than putting it next to all the other patriots from Vietnam and so forth on the square. the square's out of the question for at least another 18 months, according to the courthouse. The way you petition and everything. So what we'd like to do is say it's educational, the kids would see it, you have the highest traffic around, that people go by and see it. And last year when we did the DIR display out here, we had over 2,000 people see our history out here. We've been here for 104 years in the state. And it was pretty significant. We have 85 members here in Jackson, and we're very proud of what we do. We're just looking for something that we'll pay for if we have a piece of property to put it on, and we think that it's very educational, very patriotic, and we'd love to have it on the library property. And as you know, my heart's out to the library. I've been here for 15 years myself, and so I love you guys. But with all of that said, you have a place where the most young people will see it. If it's on the square, it's not necessarily our young people coming up and going, let's celebrate 1776. And with the celebration this year, we just have to have a confirmation before they cut this off. They're only going to make so many, but every state's trying to get as many as we can. So, Ellen, did you want to add anything to that?
It's, yeah, only enough to say. This, what's missing is a place to put it that makes a difference. There's a lot of real estate up there and a lot of sagebrush. We would like to have it here because it'll be seen, hopefully, there's a spot in your garden area, hopefully, that would, be there in having, the major problem we're seeing is that we don't own this property. It would have to be considered by the county. Well, there you go. Which will take weeks and not months.
Well, the county gave us, well, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, it has to be requested a proposal or whatever. Your proposal has to be submitted to the town, would have to be submitted to the county. They would have to bring it to the attention of the commissioners at the next meeting. It's always got to be there a couple of weeks before the meeting. So at this point, you need to go to the county commissioners. Yeah,
Well, the
but
county, well, we don't know, the county addressed our answer to be on the square, not to be at the library. So I know it's county property, but don't you have control over anything on your, the cabinet and all that sort of stuff? We don't have any property, we don't have any rights to anything on them. As a library people.
Kim, could you clarify this
Yeah.
question?
I don't know.
I'm not actually 100% sure either way on that question. The county commissioners are responsible for the properties. The library board has been entrusted to do, the supervision of the director, hiring of the director, the budget, setting policy. So it might be a good question for me to put to Jody and find out for sure. I don't know the answer. We do maintain the property with landscaping and all of that. So, to that extent, we are responsible.
The question, hey,
I'm sure you can ask me.
well, if indeed you can get to the county, because we're liable to go talk to the county people. If it comes back to you, will you approve it? How's that?
Okay, so we can talk about that. My hesitation is, right, we're in the midst of doing a large study. Exploring all of the spaces of the library and how to best utilize them and build them, refresh them for the future. As you're probably aware, libraries are changing dramatically now. And we worked with consultants, they put together a nice plan, and we actually have kind of a big idea for our grounds outside. And I just feel like, and so let's back up a little bit, we don't have any plaques right now. And this would set a precedent of, you know, working with community organizations for whatever reason, that there are many reasons that organizations like to have plaques about. And we have a policy for inside the library, which is very restricted. Temporary displays are allowed, but not. And I feel that I personally would want to, I prefer to stick with that notion that we don't put anything permanently on our grounds, that we stick with temporary displays. And so that would be my recommendation to you, is if you wanted to do something educational, focusing on the revolution and revolution, that perhaps there is something within the DAR organization that would allow you to bring us a temporary display at some point in time, maybe in honor of the anniversary or something along that line. That's my position.
And how long is temporary, like, is it weeks or can it be something for 7 months or what's considered temporary? If we had something that was to celebrate the heritage.
Well, if we went with the inside policy, the display will remain in place for a mutually agreed upon time. No display will remain in place indefinitely.
So, because we were here for about 6 weeks with our first display that we did out in the lobby. They didn't have anyone behind us, so they gave us them. And so that was good, but so if we had something we wanted to put up in the lobby. There,
Or we would figure out.
of course,
Very
right, or furnishing, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so a permanent one is not permanent because there is no other one in this time.
I would vote no. That's my position. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to say it, that I really appreciate what you're trying to do. I truly feel that the library is not the location. If we don't have precedent that maybe consider a temporary, something that is a replica, if you will, not a beautiful bronze, but something to all that, a contemporary and on the site really does open up a whole level of issues. And of course, I went to, well, where are people, there are liability issues, there are maintenance issues. And right now, the rules and regulations don't allow for it, and I think that it would take a lot of time to navigate whether or not it makes sense.
It takes
The
time.
immediacy of it is a huge problem, but I don't know that if we went through the process, we could get a different answer.
Well, we're not asking for money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just put that out there.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's not.
Yeah,
Can I say something?
Please.
yes.
Yeah.
I do know, talking about displays and inside things. I do know that the adult services team is planning a display on the big windy set of bookshelves for the months of June and July, honoring the 250th anniversary. So there will be books and things, and I don't know if there's an opportunity somehow to do a temporary piece honoring these patriots in that display.
Thank you so much for.
we understand.
We understand.
Really do.
We do. We both have lived here for a million years and we understand Jackson and we understand the library, but thank you for listening. Yes, the History Museum is private property, which in the backside, that was our first choice actually.
Because it's right there, yeah.
And we thought it was like just perfect to fit in and there's no recognition of 1776 anywhere in town. So we thought, oh, that could add to the Jackson part, right? So that is totally private land, and down the road, when we're not around, we don't know who would be taking care of it. And so forth. We're willing to take care of it, maintain it, whatever. A lot of chapters have gone, like the one at Casper Historic Museum. They maintain and plant flowers and everything all around, and they take care of that rock area. It's a big area. 100 of us stood there and had our picture taken. So it's a big area, but the chapter comes in and takes care of it. We have no control over the history museum here being able to do
I think
that.
there's a big charge also, it's huge expense too. It was out of the question.
Yeah, it's a very expensive place for nonprofits, even at half price. We can't afford to have a meeting there. It is a nonprofit, but for the nonprofits, it's
But
very
we're also
expensive.
not, well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we can't afford them, and we can't afford their speakers.
that's okay.
But that's something different. So, but we went to them first because we believe that would be a beautiful spot in the back by the cabin. And that would connect with people then, but it's not possible because of private land. And we also were offered a spot at a trail that's over that side, the trail that goes up. But that's also private property, and we were not sure after 5 years who's gonna take care of that. And that's what we were worried about. We want longevity built into whatever. But we're an established chapter, we're willing to do it.
We may be back with some other recommendation from the county or not.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate it.
And we don't want to take all your time, but we thank you so much for listening to us.
Sure.
Well, I think, Vicky, it's not our job to figure out where the plaque should go. I'm gonna leave it up to them and go ahead and.
But we're working.
Forward it in our agenda, and we do appreciate you taking the
For
time.
you, it's gonna work
To
to
us, so that we can actually make a good decision, and, it just is complicated.
Yes,
Yeah, it is.
and we appreciate your answer.
We're in a realm here.
And thanks again for listening to us. We appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Vicky, sorry, Stella, would you like to go ahead with your financial report?
Sure. Good morning and thank you. My written report was pretty brief. I'm going to start maybe with, a notation that I don't have any, general information or account updates for you. In terms of expense categories, I'm just gonna highlight 2 items. One is a couple of months ago, we made mention that in our expenditures report, the staff salaries was not an accurate representation. Part of that was related to the county HRIS system paid for and some things that were going on with W-2s, et cetera. I'm happy to report that staff did get their corrected W-2s. However, looking at the report for month ending April, our staff salaries still not accurately reflected. So yesterday I did email County Clerk Maureen Murphy asking her if she knows when these reports will actually be correctly updated. I have not yet received a response from Maureen, but again, I just emailed her yesterday. So I'm hoping that by the end of this fiscal, we will actually have a correct representation of where our staff salaries landed, as well as some of the related FICA, Medicare, and Wyoming retirement also seems to maybe not be accurately representative for where we should be at this point here, according to the report. So that's an update there. And then we had an odd little expenditure happen this past month. The library used to have a FedEx account. We have not used the FedEx account in the 5+ years that I've been here. But we recently received a bill from FedEx. I couldn't figure it out, and then I noticed one of our current staff person's name was actually on the bill. It turned out that the staff person had ordered something from their personal credit account, had it sent here, it was a book. But for whatever reason, because it was sent here, shipped here, FedEx somehow then billed us for the shipping fee. So I just want to make note that that employee has indeed submitted a check for the $17.40. And then the library, as part of today's vouchers, we're actually issuing the check to FedEx. I decided that that was the best route to go rather than have the staff person issue the check, because I think billing wise, it would get more confusing. So, since the bill came to the library, but we have been reimbursed for that amount. And then I'm going to try and see if we can just close out that FedEx account, because as I say, we haven't used it in the time that I've been here, and I don't even know how much further back it hasn't been used. And I don't perceive us having a need for using a FedEx shipping account in the near future. So that's expenses. And then I do have some happy news to report regarding our income categories. So regarding the EV charger project, as far as the planning component, as you know, we did bring to you all, the board, a request in the fall to utilize some of our capital reserves for engineering drawings. That amount that we spent was $24,500. We have now received a reimbursement from the federal grant. The check for us came through the town. So there is a process. We couldn't, because it's a federal grant and it's issued to the county, although it's issued to the library, we have to deposit it into a general county account. So it wasn't actually deposited into the library reserves. But one of the clerks in the treasurer's department is then going to take the amount that we received, which was $19,600, so roughly 80% of what we expended. That $19,600, there's going to be some sort of journal entry done to then move those funds back to our capital reserve fund. So I just wanted to make note of that and just emphasize that that account that you're seeing under income categories is not one of our library accounts, it's a general account account. And then I guess that's what I want to highlight for this month. Also just saying, overall, when I'm looking at our remaining budget and percentage used for all of our accounts, we're looking pretty good for this point of the year. We've only had one account go over budget, and that was in our collections accounts for materials. However, I'm not concerned about that because overall, I don't think it's going to affect the overall budget at the end of the year. So even though we have 2 more months to report that being May and June. So are there any questions?
Yeah, since we can't track salaries and taxes, are we on track with those?
I believe so. Yes. Yeah.
It's really odd that it's taking so long. It's very hard to evaluate business aspect. Right.
And then to note with staff salaries, because we did have a long-term manager retire at the beginning of April, there's going to be a little bit of offset for that. Although the position is being filled as of June 1st, although I'm jumping into support there, sorry. But just to say, and then we also currently have a full-time vacant position, so that in the overall scheme of things will help a little bit. So that's why I also feel comfortable, even though we're not seeing the actual salary amounts. I think they're really fine. So.
Okay. Any more questions? We'll move to consideration of county payment of library vouchers. That would you think too?
I move to approve the vouchers of May 2026 of $44,072.29.
Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Vicky. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Now, we have, it doesn't look like Angela's here. And so I guess we'll talk to Stella, who's now the vice president of the Wyoming Library Association. When did that happen? So,
Great, thank you. That happened at the, annual conference, which was the first week of October, so.
okay, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Angela couldn't be here because she's actually one of our closing show folks on Thursdays, but she did send me some notes.
Okay.
Um,
So before you start, I'd like to just give a little background here. So when we thought during the legislative session that House Bill 10 was going to pass, sexually explicit materials in libraries. After it got worked and worked and worked, there was an option for counties to exempt themselves from that law. And I think I got that right. Is that right, Kip? Did I say that correctly?
Hold on, I had to unmute myself. Yes, you got that correct. It seems very strange that you would be able to opt out of a law, but yes, that was one of the amendments to the bill.
Yeah. So our Board of County Commissioners immediately stepped forward and said, we will immediately request that we be exempted from this law. Then, surprise, surprise, the bill didn't pass. So we didn't have to go there. But regardless, I'm not sure Kip did, but I wrote a thank you note to the Board of County Commissioners and for their position and for supporting the library. And I heard back from Luther, and he asked what libraries in Wyoming are doing between now and the next legislative session proactively to avoid passage of this bill next time in a session where it's going to have a much better chance of actually getting through, because the legislation didn't die because of disfavor, it just died because of lack of time, essentially. So I asked him if someone could come and talk to us and tell us what libraries in Wyoming are doing preemptively to get ready for the next legislative session, and maybe explore what we can do.
okay, so.
There you go.
So I guess I just want to preface this, that this is a public forum, and to please know I'm not speaking on behalf of WLA, because I'm not a spokesperson for WLA, although, as I said, I am the vice president currently, but I don't have the role of being a spokesperson. I can let you know that so first of all, just so everybody's aware, and I don't know if you're aware of this, that one of the committees of the Wyoming Library Association, there is a legislative committee. Members of the legislative committee include the Wyoming Library Association executive board members. And then there's just various library employees throughout the state of Wyoming that serve on the committee. So therefore, we do have, I would say, a good representation of the different counties in Wyoming on the legislative committee. One of the things that the committee is working on is, and they do this during every legislative session, but right now they're also working on it preemptively for the future elections, is tracking the different incoming potential elected members, tracking just legislation, tracking who the folks are, what, where do they land on different issues and so forth. So that's something that's happening right now. And the reason that the committee is doing that is that they will be compiling a voter guide. We did have a legislative committee meeting on Tuesday, and I did ask if that voter guide will be submitted only for WLA membership, or would it be something that could have potentially be made to the public? The last time that WLA did a voter guide, it was strictly just for WLA membership. But per what I found out, the hope is that maybe perhaps this guide could then be made available to the public. But I don't want to say that that's going to happen for sure. But to let you all know, at least at the very least, it will be made available to, the membership of WLA, which does representative of all the counties. So, so that's pretty much the activity that's happening right now, is just tracking the different, potential electeds.
If the guide is made available to WLA members, can they then make it available in their library, like for their?
I don't have the answer to that. I'd have to check.
Oh,
Because I know sometimes there are emails that are sent to WLA members that are just for the membership, so I don't know. I don't have the answer to that question.
And you may not have the answer to this. Is it an electronic guide? Is it a physical guide? I'm just thinking ahead about how me personally, I might be able to share.
I don't have the answer to
Keep us
that.
posted.
yeah.
And I
As
don't,
soon- As soon as you know more, please let us know, so we can do our advocacy.
yeah, okay, I'm happy to do that. And then regarding something that Angela Jordan, with the American Library Association, there's counselors. There's the counselors at large, and then each state also has a counselor representation. So Angela Jordan serves as the Wyoming counselor. And so something that she sent to me, and I'll just read this if I may. The second Trump administration in 2025 launched a tax on libraries and public information, including firing the Library of Congress, Carla Hayden, librarian of Congress, attempting to dismantle IMLS, proposing cuts to E-rate funding, and eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in federal institutions. Library supporters have celebrated partial wins in the courts, and ALA's advocacy campaigns have mobilized communities to unite against book bans and show up for libraries. The American Library Association will be having the annual conference in June. And so there may be sessions that Angela and I will both be attending ALA, so there may be sessions that we might get more information in terms of what is actually happening. And then I know Angela, as counselor, definitely will be attending counselor meetings. I also serve on ALA's chapter relations committee, and we have meetings at ALA as well. So there's any information that we can share, we can certainly do so with Pip, but disseminate that to you.
I do want to say thank you for sharing it. It's a lot and it comes in, but thank you for keeping us honest.
Yeah, and I have one other question that we tried really hard to, and I think we did a really good job of activating the community. And I just hope that libraries are looking at, around the state, are looking at how to not just have members of ALA commenting, but other members of the community, and how those networks and information can go out to supporters in the community who would like to communicate with their electeds. I know they were very much overwhelmed during the last session with opposition to the House Bill 10. And I hope we could double that next time.
And it's something I should share. I don't know if you all are aware that one of the things that the WLA Legislative Committee does is they do, those who are able to attend the legislative sessions and do try to talk to the legislators state as best as possible. So, and also, if you're not aware, WLA does have a, oh my goodness, I just forgot the name, the person who, a lobbyist. So WLA does have a lobbyist that works very closely with the executive legislative.
Yeah, and very impressive one. I really did a great job. Okay, any more questions for Stella? All right, keep us posted and help us, really beat down this notion of profanity. We hate it. Thank you.
We have to vote on that.
So. And, so the, up next is Kip's report.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I would rather be there, I think, but they tell me I can't drive yet. And so
Yeah,
um,
all right.
I hope to be in sometime next week, though, I think, for at least part of the week.
Yeah, well, take good care of yourself.
Thank you.
Don't let things go bad because you're too active in the beginning.
Thank you. Um, the first thing I'm going to highlight is because we have Rick and Stella in the room. It's been a while since we've talked about some of the facilities projects that we brought to you in March. Um, One of them dropped off the list. The fire suppression grant that we were working with Jackson Hole Fire EMS on, we did not receive that grant. So we will continue to do fire mitigation around the building, but that grant fell through. But we do have four other projects, and I don't know if Rick or Stella wants to update you all on the ADA door access at Alta, the Jackson lighting project, the EV chargers, or the exterior sprinklers.
Okay, I can take that over.
Oh, right.
Um,
Thanks, Rick.
so for Alta, we haven't had any automatic door openers since the beginning. And we had a project allocated through capital reserves, which has now been awarded to a company to install them. We have the electricians on board to wire them up. And all that should happen over the next probably 4 or 6 weeks. It should be completed. So that would be exciting. With the Jackson Lighting Project, it's going to be broken up into some different sections, and we're technically working with. It's really a county project through Eric Kimball and the Energy is sustainability funding. So what we recognized is that this room, the Broadway Auditorium, has some things that are failing a little quicker. And this is such an important, all the spaces are important, but this one, keep level of service up. We identified this as something that can go into the budget right now for what he has for grant money and for EMP money and other rebates. So we have awarded that contract to Mountain Electric to do the Broadway Auditorium and the gallery. So the gallery and the restrooms, those are all on target to be done by the end of June.
So is that installing LED lighting or?
Yes, so these will be changed to LED lighting. These are obsolete, you can't even find parts for these anymore. And it'll all be upgraded to LED lighting, which will meet all the energy retrofit stuff necessary for the grant money that Eric has to put towards this. So the library isn't putting in money into that, into these projects specifically. We are going to manage the scheduling and some of the logistics, but the county is paying for it. And all that is, they're placing the order right now, so we should get that done. And then for EV chargers, we have 2 projects for EV chargers. One, EV chargers in Jackson lot. We have completed our portion of. Our responsibilities are complete, but we're waiting on other organizations to finish their construction and engineering drawings. But once that's done, then we can put it out to bid. We have, again, this will be a project that is primarily through, we have money through the library reserves, money through foundation reserves as matching stuff, as matching money towards the grant and the other money from the EMP fund that the county has. And once Eric gives us the okay, then we'll put our bid package out to bid. There is not really a timeline.
Well, that's a question and concern I've had all along. I understand there's no timeline, but are all the other entities needed to do this project committed?
I think they're all committed. There is a little bit of dissection going on with Eric in removing some of the entities that are taking more time and sort of slowing the process down for everyone else. So that my understanding is that the town they awarded the engineering and design to a company. And then so that was the town, and then there's other county entities that were allowed to piggyback on the town's agreement. And those entities have piggybacked, so they're ready to go. I think there's the Park Service and the Village Association, those are kind of dragging on a little. So Eric's trying to have them separated so that we can continue and move on as fast as possible. And then we have for Alta, we have an EV charger that they've already given us. We've gotten that through a grant or Teton County Facilities got that through a grant and gave it to us. And during our parking lot renovation, which we'll talk about shortly, we're planning to trench and install the new EV charger so that there will be a level 2, I think it's a level 2 EV charger over at Alta, which is right now sitting in our shed waiting to be installed. It's great. And exterior sprinklers, you approved the money to get that done based on the homework that we did for budgeting. I've been in contact with the fire EMS, and at this point we're compliant, everything's good. They don't believe there's any problem with how our system would function in the case of an emergency. So that will be something that I'll be working on in the next couple of months to put together requests for proposals and get them out to bid.
Thanks, Rick.
Sure.
Other things in my report mostly deal with staffing at the library. We're moving as quickly as possible to fill a number of vacant positions. We did fill the access services supervisor with Wendy Walton. She came to us from Alpine, where she was the branch manager, and she started at the end of April. And Susan Centrella, who was our collection and access services manager, that position was posted and advertised, and we were able to fill that in-house with Jennifer Kofed, who came to us in, I think, December of last year, where she came from Converse County Library System, where she was the branch manager at the Glen Rock branch. And let's see what else. Sad news. Our librarian, Alex Cook, has accepted a position with the Fort Vancouver Regional Library System in Vancouver, Washington, and will be leaving us at the end of June. And that leaves, I believe, a senior library assistant, 2 senior library assistant positions that are still vacant. We are interviewing for one of them later today, so hopefully we'll fill one of those. And then we have, I believe, 1 part-time library assistant position. So staff are pitching in a lot to cover a lot of vacant shifts. And so they're getting a little tired, and we'd like to fill these jobs as soon as we can. And that's what we're trying to do. The only other thing that isn't in my report is that last Monday I did have the opportunity to present our FY27 budget request to the commissioners. it went forward as the board had adopted, with the exception of the workforce plan, which we're still working with Clerk Murphy on getting the correct numbers in the workforce plan. Some of the positions were mislabeled, so we're working to correct those. But so far, despite the headlines in the paper of 23, $25 million deficit next year, we haven't been asked to pare anything back. So our request still stands as the board had approved back in February. And I'm open to any questions about the rest of the report.
Any questions? All right, thank you, Kip. Very
You're
complete.
welcome.
Oh, I did have one question. Somewhere in the report, I read that the July meeting is at 9 a.m.
Yes,
Is that
that's
right?
set by bylaw because the new board will not have set the new year's worth of meetings. So you can only set meetings through the end of through June, which we have, and then the new board comes in July and they'll set um, the year's worth of meeting dates. But by the bylaws, we have to have our July meeting on the third Thursday at 9 a.m.
Okay, good. I'll get that on my calendar. Thank you. It looks like we don't have a report from the foundation today.
Diana is out, not feeling well today, so we don't have a report from her today.
All right, and we're done with the DAR request. And so now it's back to Rick, I think, with the staff report for the Alta cleaning client.
Okay, so we have been working with Premier Green Cleaning for a couple of years now over in Alta, and they've been doing a great job. So what we are looking at is considering entering into the 2-year contract extension that is provided for in the agreement, so we don't have to go back out to bid. And in speaking with the current agreement expires on June 30th, 2026. Our performance, their performance and our communication has been really good. I chatted with Stella and Kip and with Eva Dahlgren, who is the branch manager at Alta, and they're very satisfied. She is very satisfied with the experience. Kip and Stella have backed that up as well from their knowledge. And my experience has been that they've been great. Funding is through operations budget for janitorial contract in Alta. There's no change to the amount of that. And I will manage the contract and the team. So the recommendation is to go with Premier Green Cleaning for an extension of 2 years. And there's a suggested motion to approve the extension.
Would a board member like to make that motion, please?
Sure, to approve extension of independent contractor agreement for professional cleaning services through June 30th, 2028.
I can second that motion. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Rick? Oh, Estella.
I have one question, Kip, for you, just clarification regarding this and the next item. To be clear, you're the one who will sign the contract, the updated
Yeah.
contract agreement. Okay, I just want to
Yeah.
make sure I need you to get a signature here today. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
All the parking lot, Rick.
Okay, so we're here to let you to consider approving $53,120 from capital reserve funds to enter into agreement and complete the Alta Library parking paving project. The existing parking lot needs some repair. It's in relatively good condition, but the asphalt edges are cracked and broken. So we need to cut them, or it would be good to cut them and clean them up. And then at the same time, we are looking to add a drainage and expand the parking lot in a way that we'd add 5 parking spaces, which would significantly increase the parking there. Ration, like in proportion. However, the details of this are a little bit out of my lane. So we've been working with Road and Levy. Road and Levy produced this awesome parking lot paving project manual, which goes to very much detail. And and then they handed that off to us, which will take over. They will still be involved in helping with the project, but ultimately I will end up managing the project on site with the construction company. We had allocated $40,000 for parking lot repairs in our capital reserves. The bids that came in were much higher. The bid that was chosen was at 51,927, and they are qualified and a company that Road and Levy has worked with and been happy with. So looking to approve so we had the 40,000 allocated. We would like to add 13,120 to compensate for the additional charges for the project, and then a 10% of that 13,000 for contingency should we run over half unforeseen issues. So we are looking to have you consider approving that and making a motion to approve the 53,120 from capital reserves and to enter into an agreement with the Vail Valley Construction.
Okay, thank you, Rick. The documents the board received prior to the meeting were very descriptive and detailed and kind of difficult reading at times, but.
Well, if you like everything that's in there,
Yeah.
you can have a copy of this.
Thank you for your thoroughness. We appreciate it. I'll go ahead and make that motion. I move to approve 53,120 from Library Capital Reserve and enter into an agreement with Anvil Construction LLC to complete Teton County Library parking lot project. 1 second. Seconded by Peggy. All in favor? Aye.
I do have a couple quick things. I think it's great that you have that manual. We are gonna have a site visit next month, right?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
And I just want to make sure expanding the parking spaces doesn't involve any kind of cap. It is.
Actually, they came out and took the GIS, they did all the measurements, and no, we don't have any issues
They
there.
were subject to this. I just want to be sure.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we
Okay.
discovered the property was bigger than we actually thought it was, right, Rick?
Correct. Well, it was bigger to the north than we expected. It's a little bit shorter to the south, west that we were hoping for, but the other projects we have planned will still fit in that footprint.
Was it a net gain?
No, it's still the same size. But when it comes to planning, being able to put that extending the parking lot up to the north. Right, that's actually right where we would have the EV vehicle. So now instead of having one spot where the EV, we only have one charger and one port, but a car could park in either of those spots and be able to use the EV charger. And then we would add 5 spots, 4 along the north side and 1 where the entrance comes in that people park halfway on the pavement and halfway in the mud. So we'll clean that up and make it better.
Sounds good.
Right.
All right, thank you, Rick.
You're welcome.
So on to the next, the resolution of posting HR 7661.
Oh, we need to go, Mary Lee, we need to go back to July 4th.
Yeah, okay. Kip, do you wanna talk about that? I think everybody's read about it and, understand it as well as possible. Does anyone
Sure.
have any questions for Kip about it?
I'm happy to answer any questions. When we have the Saturday holidays, it kind of runs up against how the county's policies are written because most of the time they're Monday through Friday holidays and the county mostly operates Monday through Friday. So we have to decide how to handle Saturday holidays or Sunday holidays as well. And sometimes we could be open on the observed holiday day. Sometimes we could choose to be closed. Looking around at what other libraries are doing with regard to July 4th this year, a lot are being closed on July 3rd and 4th. And as I mentioned earlier in the staffing news, staff are feeling really run a little bit ragged. So it might be nice to just let them have an extra day of rest.
Vicky, would you like to make a motion?
I would. I move that the library be closed on Friday, July 3rd, Saturday, July 4th, in observance of the Independence Day holiday, with full-time employees regularly scheduled to work on that Saturday, receiving 8 hours of paid administrative leave.
Second.
Seconded, all in favor? Aye. I trust everyone's read, the resolution opposing HR 7661. If it's okay with you, Kip, I'd like to just go ahead and have a vote and, or a motion and a vote.
Sure. I would just add a little bit ahead of this, just having, as I serve on the ARSL board, the Association of Rural and Small Libraries, a number of organizations were signing on to petitions opposing this legislation. WLA missed the deadline, I believe, for signing on to a larger organization, so that they issued their own statement opposing. And while it only affects school libraries, there is a trickle down effect that this legislation would have. I mean, education affects everyone in our community. And oftentimes, our school librarians don't have someone speaking for them. And I just think it's important that we give voice to our school librarians, show support for them. And so that was the reason for this resolution.
I have a funny question. I totally oppose it. I would imagine everyone on this board, even though we're missing two, would, we are speaking on behalf of Teton County Library as a whole. Is that going to cause any problem? Have we seen anything? I'm totally fine to make the motion. I was just curious.
I I mean, we were very vocal about the last piece of legislation that was before the legislature here in Wyoming, and we did the film screening. We did the workshop afterwards. We've have our advocacy page on our website, and to date, there's been no "Why are you doing this?" sort of statements
Great.
coming
That's
our
my
way. So
question. Thank you.
And I'd like to say that, in Teton County, I mean, there's no question that we have the backing of our elected officials, but all over Wyoming, the advocacy has been robust. Even in counties where there's more at stake for, library employees and boards. I think, yeah, it's kind of our duty. So great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I will move to adopt resolution 2026-1, closing HR 7661.
Thank you, Peg. I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Teton County Policy Manual.
What a pain.
Yeah, Kip, why don't you go ahead and succinctly
Sure.
summarize?
There is a standing committee at the county level, the HR policy committee, and periodically we revise. I'm a sitting member of that committee. representing the library. And periodically, we revise policies at the county level. This, I think the last time we did it was in maybe July of 2024. And so this is a revised policy manual. The commissioners have already approved this. They had hoped to have an effective date for all of the county for May 1st, recognizing the library couldn't approve it until today, and then the library would go into effect on June 1st. I did speak with Justin Kaiser, the HR director, yesterday, and the entire county now will be going effective June 1st with the policy changes. Um, the
Will the changes we have voted on before be included in our vote today? Or do we have to ditch those?
I'm not sure what you're referring to, Vicky.
About, let's see. Teton County, I thought we had 4 policies there that we had wanted to use instead.
Those are still opted out. We still opt out of those, and we have our own policies there. And so,
That was my question.
okay.
And those
Um,
4 policies, there's a resolution, and I believe we do have to sign this once.
yes,
Yeah, and Elizabeth isn't here, right now, she's out of the country. Can we substitute a different board member in?
yes, you could do that.
Okay, Vicky, would you like to sign that policy? And it does, enumerate out of the 4 policies that are exempt. It explains things pretty clearly in that, so I will sign that at the end of the meeting.
Do you need me then to revise the document to have Vicky's, or can we just do like a cross out?
You could just do a cross out and put
Okay.
Vicky Rosenberg vice chair.
Because I do have those here.
Right. I will make a motion. Did we vote on this? Not yet. Not yet. I move to approve. Oh, any other questions for Kip? Any other questions from anybody? Okay, I move to approve resolution 2026-2, adopting the 2026 Teton County Policy Manual, except for those policies as set forth in the presented resolution. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Staff will receive the updated access to the updated policies via our HRIS system Paycor, and where they used to have to sign an acknowledgement form on paper, they will have to sign the acknowledgement through the electronically through the HRIS system, and that should happen in the next week or so. Just so you know.
Wasn't there a second document that needs signatures today? Was it the Alta parking lot?
No, it was the resolution for opposing HR 7661.
Oh, yeah, and is that Elizabeth's signature as well?
That can be a cross out too, or that's up to you. We have waited for the secretary to be available in the past. The vote is what matters, so.
What would you prefer to do? Do you want to get signatures today? Stella, or
I think on the policy manual for sure. I think Keith Gingrey would appreciate having the signed resolution today.
all right, well, I'll go ahead and sign the other one, and we will wait for Elizabeth's signature for the
Okay.
second. Okay, are there any other board matters from board members? Estella, Kip, anyone else? All right, I don't see anyone opting to do that. So let's talk about the collaboration of library affiliated boards, reviving that. And I'm wondering, do we need a motion to do that, or there's no suggested motion here, so.
I think it was just, it is something that we've done in the past. I don't know that there was ever, I don't recall that it was ever a vote to establish it or to reestablish it is needed. It's just something that's on the books that we haven't been doing for a couple of years. I did send out an email to the board members that sort of described what it was. And I know Mary Lee and I have talked, and Diana Peck and I have talked, and I know that there is interest from the foundation side of making sure those conversations continue to happen or start happening again.
So it sounds like we're gonna go ahead and move forward with that, and unless anybody thinks
It was 3 times a year. I'm trying to remember where I think it was kind of bounced around quarterly.
yeah.
We ended up on that.
Do you remember, Kip? I can't quite remember either, I
I
think
think we'd settled on maybe twice a year, but maybe an extra meeting here at the beginning.
yeah. That would be a good idea.
And
Yeah.
how it functioned in the past would be, it would be the board chair, the library director, and then another board member would come along. And in the past, we would just sort of take turns cycling through all the board members. So whoever Mary Lee can find available or who has expressed interest to join her at the first meeting, that would be great.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and entertain a motion to move to executive session.
Can move to go into executive session to discuss the personnel matter in accordance with Wyoming statute 16-4-45 A2.
I will need to step out, but I'm gonna leave the computer on so that you can interact with.
Yes,
Kim.
and I will pause the recording once the motion passes. Did the motion
Yeah, I'm
pass?
gonna leave you the resolutions, and if you just wanna let me know when you're done with
Okay,
your meeting.
all right. All in favor then, we'll go back to our vote, all in favor of going into executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. There's a motion. Okay, go ahead.
I move to adjourn this May 21st, 2026 regular meeting.
I second it. All in favor? Aye. Did we do that right?
And now we have to, that was the regular meeting. We didn't come out of executive session.
Right.
So I move to come out of executive session.
I second.
May 21, 26.
And no votes were taken.
No votes were taken.
Correct. Okay, let me stop the recording.